Hey, lovelies. If you're a romance author who wants a website that actually makes sense, you're in the right place. Today, I want to talk about why building an author website feels so much harder than people say it should, and why that's not a personal failing. I want to start by naming something I see all the time. You open a website builder, Squarespace, WordPress, whatever it is, and you're excited. You're finally doing this thing you've been putting off. And then nothing happens. You stare at the screen, you click around, you start a homepage, delete it, start again. You look at templates that all feel kind of right, but also kind of wrong. And eventually you close the tab. Or maybe it's not the builder, maybe it's the advice. You read a blog post, 7 must-have pages for your author website. You watch a video, how to build a website in one afternoon, and you think, okay, I can do this. Except when you try to apply it, something feels off. The advice is technically correct, it's not bad, but it doesn't quite fit. And the worst part, you start to think it's you. I write whole novels, why can't I write a website? Everyone else seems to have this figured out, what am I missing? If that's where you are right now, I need you to hear this. Most authors don't struggle because they're bad at websites. They struggle because the advice they're following wasn't written for them. So let's talk about why that advice doesn't fit. Most website advice, the stuff you'll find on Google, in courses, and Facebook groups, was written for coaches, consultants, and service providers. And those businesses work a specific way. Someone lands on the site with a problem, the site presents a solution, there's a clear call to action, book a call, buy a course, download a lead magnet. The goal is to move someone off the page and into the next step as quickly as possible. That works great if you're selling to someone who showed up looking for a solution to a problem. But authors, you're not selling a solution, you're inviting someone into a relationship. Readers don't buy immediately. They browse, they linger, they poke around, they come back. They check out your newsletter offer to see if there's a free chapter or a short story, something they can sample to decide if your writing is what they crave. They check out your books page to see if there's a series, what order to read it in, what your world feels like. And if they like what they see, they join your email list, they follow you, they wait for your next release. That's a completely different journey than land on page, solve problem, convert. So when you try to apply advice that was written for businesses that solve problems to a career that's built on readers coming back again and again, of course it feels off, because it is. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but I still need to build something, so why does this feel so hard to just start? Great question. And here's where the advice breaks down even more. Most website advice tells you, just pick a platform and start building. And that sounds reasonable, right? You've got to start somewhere. But here's what actually happens. You open Squarespace, or System or WordPress, and immediately the tool starts asking you questions. What's your website goal? How many pages do you need? What's your main call to action? Do you want a blog? Do you want e-commerce? And you don't know yet, because you haven't figured out what your site is supposed to do. So you make your best guess, and then one of two things happens. Option 1, you overbuild. You add a blog, and a shop, and a resources page, and a media kit, and a page for every book, and a page for your newsletter, and you get the idea. You add everything, just in case, because you're not sure what you'll need later. And now your site feels overwhelming to build, to maintain, to even look at. Option 2, you freeze. You stare at the blank template. You start a homepage, delete it, start again. You buy the domain, you pay for the platform, but the site stays in draft mode for months. And both of these, overbuilding and freezing, they come from the same place. You're trying to make permanent decisions before you have clarity. And when you're a creative person who cares deeply about doing things right, that's terrifying. And I should know, I've been stuck in both of these places myself. So if your website has felt harder than it should, it doesn't mean you're behind. It doesn't mean you're bad at this. It doesn't mean you're missing some secret everyone else figured out. It means you're an author trying to use advice that wasn't designed for authors. And that's not a failure, that's just a mismatch. In the next few videos, I'm going to show you a different way to think about your website. One that matches how author careers actually work. One that starts with clarity before tools and doesn't lead you to overbuild or freeze because you'll know exactly what belongs and what doesn't. We're going to walk through this calmly, step by step, and by the end, you're going to have a website that makes sense to you, not just to the internet. If this video gave you a little bit of relief, you're not alone, and you're exactly where you need to be. Drop a comment and let me know. Does this match your experience? I'd love to hear where you are in your website journey. Thanks so much for being here today, lovelies. I'm Erin from Kissin, and I'll see you in the next video.